Welcome back. In the last Dancing Dragon update, we got 2 new Aardvarks, and if you are familiar with the F-111A at all, you know that this thing is a stinking pile of garbage in RB, and that you really never should play it out. Are the F-111F and the F-11C any different? Yeah and no. Mainly because these 2 planes, while very similar, are actually completely different due to a very minute changes that make a massive impact. Which one should you fly over the F-111F and the F-111C? To give you the short story, the F-111F is simply just better. Let me tell you why. First of all, we have the engines. The engines on the F-111C here produce a hell of a lot more thrust. We have over 10,000 kg force on the American version. And then we go to the British one and we will not even hit 9,000. Barely 8,800. And this difference is noticeable. The F-111C goes rapid on the deck. This thing will push over 1,600 km an hour IAS at sea level, which is absolutely obscene, and I'm pretty sure that this is the fastest plane in the game right now. Next to that, we also have more missiles. The F-111F will have 6 AIM-9Ls, whereas the British one only carries 4. Now these are the biggest differences that will impact you in air RB. In terms of tank RB, the differences are a little bit smaller. So let's take a look at the bomb loads. Now here, they're basically all the same, except for the fact that you can carry 750s on the American one, and there are some other big bomb options. When we go to the British one, it's essentially the same, but it's slightly just ever so different. Now you probably want to carry the guided bombs anyway, so in all intents and purposes, it's going to be the exact same thing. Now let's take a look at some gameplay where I yap about this plane and try to not make you fall asleep. Now for the first game here, we're going to be engaging a Mirage 2000 as well as an F1C. Absolutely stellar performance versus these planes, of course, because we just absolutely mock them into the ground. And then for the second game, we have a 7K. Now, it is very representable to how you fly the plane. It's not very representable in how many kills you are going to be getting. Now, I didn't really mention the Vulcan, and I really don't have to, other than the fact that it has 2,000 rounds. Make sure you use it, because you're not going to get many shots on target. We merged with the Mirage 2000, and this guy is an absolute genius, top 1% of the community. Turns straight into the mountain, and we mock him into the ground. Now, we continue on a merry way. Second Mirage shows up. So we start turning in a little bit. Want to try to get some position. Look at the speed bleed in a second here, because it's absolutely obscene. We turn in. We try to go up over his nose. He underleads a little bit. And he's also just absolutely petrified by the Aardvark Aura. And he simply turns away and runs to Narnia, I guess. He is absolutely petrified. I'm not entirely sure what his plan is. And that is going to be my game. Yeah, that was it. He's gonna run away and we are gonna do absolutely nothing. And that is unfortunately the truth of this plane. If people don't want to fight you, you're not going to get any kills. And if they do want to fight you, you're probably still not going to get any kills, because quite easily it is a massive boat. We tell the guy to shut the fuck up after spamming in chat for 5 minutes straight. And we fly straight in. Now we are going rapid. We're going 1700 kilometers an hour and we are still accelerating. Now we don't want to contrail, so I dive out a little bit. There we go. And now we can level out and start engaging people. The way that I really fly this is by having a little bit of altitude. Hope that we don't get up tiered, because if you fly into the F-14 horde, this right here is not going to work. So I just try to keep my altitude, try to not contrail, not become a massive target. Turn the radar off, because it's not really useful in this plane anyway. And make sure that you don't touch your controls too hard. Now here comes a MiG-21. The MiG-21 at altitude is actually decently fast, because it's IAS limited. So we want to drag it down a little bit. I should outrun it regardless, but I just want to get away from this dude. And for some reason, people really love chasing the Aardvark. Even though you're going 400 kilometers an hour quicker than they do, they will still try to follow you. Now this guy is going to do so for a little bit, and I'm just going to try to get some separation and just get away from this dude. Now he's going to take a bit for his synapses to kick in, I guess, and realize that he is never going to catch me. Now I might try to get a little bit more distance here to push ahead on if they really try to stick it. You can get enough separation to the point where you can turn around, but be careful with turning around, because this thing does not maintain speed whatsoever. Also keep a look at the fuel burn. I carry an hour, We're barely into the match and we're already on half fuel. You do want to run the half afterburner very often in this thing, because if you don't, you will fall out of the air. Now luckily with this plane, if you keep it very fast, as you can see right here, you can tap next G somewhat to hold a little bit of speed. But you can tell that the second the nose starts kicking out at all, it just absolutely plummets. And we just lost so much speed. Yes, it wasn't the slowest turn. The thing is that with the F-111C, it's actually somewhat okay to not turn super slow like with the F-111A, because this thing at high speed actually has a little bit of acceleration, which means that if you drop a little bit and you have room, you can actually accelerate back up. So you're not really forced to always keep it above Mach. Of course, it's gonna be important and you do want to keep this thing fast. But now, after we ran away, we disengaged, and on 25 minutes on fuel, we can finally do what I was trying to do. So after disengaging, we get our altitude back a little bit, because we want to drop down on people and shoot missiles from directly above. And why is this? Because most people aren't looking straight up. So we have this F-104 here. Now he is in range. We're going to shoot a missile at him. JA-37, also probably not looking straight up. And just like that, we rain in 2 kills. Now he saw the missile last second. It didn't matter. He eats it. And we get 2 very quick kills just like that. MiG-21 here from the start. Absolutely tunnel visioned on the next guy. And I know that he's going to be tunnel visioned by the way he was engaging me. We're just going to shoot a missile at him. Because why? I don't want to risk the fact that he sees me last second and pulls out of the way. That's going to be kill number 3. And I thought at this point that my game was going to be over. Because most of your games are going to look exactly like this. Now, unfortunately for them, they still had some people alive, so I am able to get more of them. Now I'm starting to climb in here and I spot 2 A-10s. Are these kills gonna be super flashy, super interesting? No. The highlight of this game was killing that Mirage 2000 by making him fly into the mountain. We get our 4th kill there, and I just think, well, I'm just gonna full commit this dude because I won my ace. Now he hits us once, we don't get killed because this plane is absolutely massive, and because of that we are of course impervious to damage. That is a fucking lie. If you get hit in this thing, you are a frisbee most of the time. You go into a flat spin. It doesn't handle well at all anymore. And I mean compared to when you are not damaged, because it doesn't handle well from the second you get off the runway. But this plane does not take damage well. It does survive damage, but it doesn't survive damage. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you won't be dead, but your performance is going to be so terrible that you are not going to be able to do literally anything. But luckily, we got away with it. He probably hit us with an AP round or something. And I wasn't completely kidding. The plane is just so massive that sometimes bullets just don't do enough damage to cripple your plane. Now, this is one of those instances. We got kind of lucky. But at this point, I'm just trying to fly it as aggressively as possible. Because I know that if I have to disengage, turn back around, guess what's going to happen? It's going to turn into another head-on, because the A-10 is going to have the ability to turn around before I do, and then he has his nose pointed at me. I don't want to deal with that, so I'd rather just head on him right then and there, get on with it, be done with it, and if I kill him, I kill him. If I trade, I can go to the next game, because I felt that this game was essentially over. But then we noticed the J7D taking off. We spray a little bit of a line, we disassemble his plane. Didn't really kill him all too well, but look at my speed bleed here. Oh yeah, lovely. I love this plane. The speed blade is still absolutely obscene, and it probably has some of the worst retention of any plane in the game. This thing can go from Mach 1.3 to 700 kilometers an hour before you pass out if you actually stamp on the elevator and keep the afterburners rolling. Yes, you don't need to air brake, you don't need to do anything, you just turn and the speed just vanishes in front of the sun. And it's honestly baffling how quickly this thing loses speed. I feel like it's almost impossible how much speed this thing loses without everything just breaking apart. But it might be, you know, it's heavy, it's big, it's a flying air brake with the wing sweep configuration, because very often what you see with the wing sweep, I mean, look at it, it kind of looks like a delta wing. I know it isn't, you don't have to correct me, but it has that delta shape. And we know that the deltas pull a lot of AOA and lose a lot of speed. And this is no exception. And it's the same with the MiG-23 with the wing swept all the way back. If you put that thing on 0% sweep or 100% sweep at all times, you will also notice that it pisses away energy. And that goes for basically every swing wing design. It's a little bit unfortunate, but this thing is also very heavy. And then we also have the 1.5 multiplier that Gaijin implies. employs on these jets, which means that it turns more in real life, which probably also means that it bleeds even more speed. And that's all I have for you today. I know that this was a bit of a sleeper, but I cannot make this thing more interesting than I did today. So I hope you enjoyed it. You will see me all after the weekend, because I need a break after flying this thing, as well as the Su-24. Thank you all for watching, have a nice weekend, and you'll see me in the next one.